Today is a beautiful day. It's Guru Purnima, or the full moon for all the teachers. So life becomes magical when we start seeing the face of the divine in everything, from a little plant to this little cat here. Imagine how beautiful is nature. You start seeing tenderness and love in everything. You see it as a perfect creation. So here is this amazing story of Dattatreya. Because he comes with a bag to carry all our karmas away. There is so much fear, anxiety, depression. There is one cure only to all of this, which is the knowledge of the soul. So who was Dattatreya? He was the child of Atreya Muni and Anusaya, and he actually had this beautiful story in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Purana. So we have, after Lord Krishna dies, we have the descendants of the Yadu dynasty. There is this king Yayati who was in love with his wife Devyani, but due to a curse, he was cursed to lose his youth very young and become like an old man. So he was begging of all his children. He was asking Yadu, who will take over my burden? Who will actually take the curse away? Because that's the only way he could exchange it. But his son, being very wise, knew that the youth was actually to meditate and connect with the secret truth of the soul and not to waste it running after desires like his father. So what does he do? He's roaming. The father inherits the son, and then he's roaming in the forest, completely disheartened and searching for the eternal truth of the soul. And there he meets this man who's so happy. He's lying under a tree with no worries, nothing. And then he looks at him and he says, "Who are you? Great one." And he says, "I am Avaduta." What is an Avaduta? He said, he's an enlightened one who has let go of all desires and connected to the eternal truth of the soul. So that is why I laugh. That's why I sleep anywhere. That's why I'm the happiest man. So let's invoke this Avaduta, or the eternal awakened one, in you today. So he says, how did you become so wise? What was the secret behind your wisdom? And then he says, there is nothing I studied or learned, but these are all my teachers. I have 24 gurus or teachers. So he says, who are these 24 gurus? He says, they're simple things I saw. The first one is the earth. The Mother Earth, or Prithvi Ma, as she's known, is the mother herself. People trample her, walk on her, pollute her. But she doesn't care. She stands there bright, laughing, and continuously giving to everyone. So she gives the spirit of forgiveness and acceptance and being able to actually carry any burden. So a lot of people complain about what happened in their childhood and families, and there's a lot of pain from holding on to the past. This actually comes from self-rejection. So Mother Earth teaches us to let go of everything and be free and happy. And the second guru is air, or the wind, which flows everywhere. And that freedom and the ability to be still, even in movement, we learn from the air. So detachment, how do we learn detachment? The air flows over things which smell beautiful. It also flows over things which don't smell good, but it doesn't judge. It just remains pure and light and flowing freely, even in that movement. So that is the second teacher. And then the third one is the sky. So just as how the sky is a canopy for the earth, similarly the body is just a covering for the Atma, or the eternal soul which lies inside of us. So the sky can change colors, that is both in dusk and in dawn. But the truth is, it may seem like it's limited, but actually it's infinite. So what do we learn from the sky? This quality that the soul is eternal, immortal, and it's extraordinary and cannot be held in anything because it is boundaryless. That is what we learn from the sky. And then what do we learn from the next guru, who is fire? So what does the fire do? Everything which is matter, it just burns to embers and ashes. So similarly, everything which is not truth, the fire burns and burns and burns until there's nothing left. So we have the ability to let go of all our desires in this fire of the knowledge of the soul, which is the only thing. And the next teacher is water, who nourishes and nurtures. And water is the most loving element of a spiritual teacher, because we would have no forest, none of this, without the nurturing, loving flow which the water gives. So we have so many little teachers who come to us in so many forms to us. And one important teacher is the archer. So just like the archer who's focused on one knowledge only, which is the knowledge of the soul. So similarly, no matter what distractions are there in life, we connect to the knowledge of the Brahman. That is, if you are the arrow, if the Atma is the arrow, then the bow is Om. And from that you reach Brahman, or the Supreme Soul. So it is through meditation, through chanting, that you let go of tamas and rajas, or the lower qualities, to reach purity or sattva. So like the archer, never let go of sattva, which is the destination for you. And life is bliss, life is celebration. And then the next teacher is the moon. Just as the moon has phases from new moon to full moon, like what it is today. Have you heard of moon bathing? Just like sunbathing. So today is a great day to really charge yourself, because they are transmitters and we are receivers. But what we see as the phases waxing, waning of the moon is nothing but the moods and qualities of our mind and body. But the moon itself is constant. It doesn't change at all. And then the next teacher is the sun. So what does the sun do? The sun shines beautifully all the time. And if the Supreme Soul is the sun, each of us are one ray of the sun, or the individual soul. And how does the sun look when it's reflected in a, maybe in a water, like, maybe in a bowl like this, or in a gutter, or in, maybe in this pot. So the sun looks different as it shines into a lake. But the thing is, the essential qualities of the sun, they remain the same. So we have to remember that we are actually part of this eternal sun, and stay connected all the time. And the next teacher is actually something, believe it or not, something as simple as a pigeon. One day the hunter comes and lays a snare for the hatchlings. But the mother goes in and then tries to protect and overprotect, and then the whole family dies with the hunter. So this is what over attachment to material things and family does. So we have to learn to love without attachment, which is super important. And then what is the next teacher? We can actually see the python, which is lying down. The python is a snake which doesn't go in search of its food. Whatever food comes, it takes by itself. So similarly, we don't go in search of anything. Whatever is coming our way, you take it naturally. So all these simple things we don't get. And what is the ocean? We live here where sometimes the light of the sun, the raindrops, you can see it's raining behind me. So the ocean water goes up to the sun, and then because of the sun, and then it comes as little droplets back as rain, and then it fills the ocean. So the ocean receives all these waves, everything. Some waters are pure, some are impure, but it never lets go of its oceanness. So this quality of complete freedom and remaining the same is what the ocean teaches. And next is a firefly. Just as a firefly is attracted to desires, you know how it goes to the fire, to the light? So similarly, desires are what destroys the knowledge of the soul. We get burnt in the fire, just like the firefly. Last night, every night here, I rescue fireflies, and it's the most beautiful experience. Communicating with such a tiny being, even so beautiful as a tiny firefly. It comes in search of the light inside the house and it's trapped inside. So lovingly, I communicate, take, and then release it, and then it flies away. So this is the way we have to detach from desires. And then 12th teacher is the honeybee. You know how beautiful is the honeybee? It goes from flower to flower. You can see different kinds of flowers. This is a passion flower. These are gardenias. So each one so beautifully fragrant. It goes to each flower only taking what it needs. It doesn't take anything more, but it gives much more in return. It pollinates and helps more and more flowers to come. So this is the nature of the honeybee. Who's the next teacher? Where you only take what you want. You don't hoard for the future. This you learn from the honeybee. And the next teacher is the elephant. So what does the elephant do? There was a male tusker people were trying to capture it. So the hunters had a wooden image of a she elephant there. And the poor male went in search of this temptation of the she elephant, and then he got trapped. So similarly, on the spiritual path, whether it is a she trap or a he trap, don't lose focus of your eternal spiritual truth, because this is the only way you can progress forward, because there are obstacles. In the Upanishads, we have two paths. One is Shreya and one is Preya. So Shreya is the hard path, but there are a lot of obstacles. And Preya is the path of comfort, but it doesn't take you anywhere at all. And the next guru or the teacher is the honey gatherer. So what does the honey gatherer do? He goes to the hard work of all the honeybees and just removes everything in a moment. So he takes much more than what he needs. So this is typical of many people, where the possessions start possessing us. We start owning so many things. We are afraid to leave our homes because we have hoarded so many things. We lead a simple life. We don't even bother about anything at home because we are not hoarding so many possessions. So this freedom to let go only comes when we stop being like a honey gatherer. And the next guru or teacher is the deer. So this Dattatreya was watching this deer who was beautifully dancing and so happy. And then a hunter was trying to catch this deer, but he couldn't, no matter what he tried. And then what does he do? He understood that this deer had a weakness, which was music. So he plays some enchanting music, and then the deer gets enchanted by that and gets trapped by the hunter and captured. So similarly, all of us have some weakness, and life is about strengthening our strengths and weakening our weaknesses. So no matter what this weakness is in the spiritual path, just let go, because finally your goal is only this eternal knowledge of the soul. The fish actually is a great teacher, because how does it get trapped? It goes after the worm or the bait, and that's how. So similarly, don't get baited by all the temporary things. Really search for nectar. Don't be afraid of anything. Seek the eternal truth, and you will receive much more. That's what Jesus Christ said, ask and you shall receive. So really, to ask for whatever you need is the most amazing thing. And the 17th teacher is Pingala, who was a courtesan or a prostitute. So what she would do is she would dress up every day in beautiful clothes and wait for her lover. And one day, this particular man, who was actually supposed to be a holy man, who she had insulted earlier, saying that you don't have the money to buy me, and he saved all the money in the world and then came to actually look for her one day. And that day she was waiting for her lover, and then he never came. So she got really upset, and what she did was she took all her jewelry, everything, threw it away, because what was the use of waiting for these transient lovers who come one by one? Instead, if all this love was for the one God who never left us, imagine how fantastic, how happy she would always be. So just this shift happened in 1 second, where she left these pleasures of the body and connected to the eternal joys of truth. And this holy man, seeing her, fell at her feet and to this prostitute or courtesan and said, "You are my teacher because you have showed me what is the truth." Because the sparrow is flying up in the sky with a small piece of food in its mouth, and then all the vultures are up trying to catch the sparrow. And immediately what the sparrow does is it lets go of the food. And at that instant, the vultures let go of the sparrow as well, and they go for the food. So similarly, in the spiritual life, sometimes we have obstacles. Sometimes we get scared, we get worried. It's okay, let it, don't struggle trying to fight it, because sometimes a fight and you land in a bigger soup. So remember, this too shall pass. No matter what problem, what illness, what difficulty, everything shall pass. So just drop it, just allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, and then magically you realize you're completely free. And then the next teacher is a child. So this little baby or a child is the 19th teacher, because the child is completely in the present moment. He's not worrying about the past. He's not bothered about the future. He's playing so happily. I have so many children like this who are real teachers to me. I love them beyond anything. So we have to learn to be in the present moment from the children. And the next teacher is a young girl. So this young girl has unexpected guests at home, and she has to cook. So what she does is she's pounding rice with a wooden stick. And as she's pounding the rice with the stick, she has many bangles in her hand, and the bangles are clanging and making a big noise. So when the noise is there, she's actually disturbing her guests who are resting. So she removes some of the bangles, but still the sound is there. She only has 2 bangles left on her hand. And what does she do? After that, she removes even the second bangle until there's only 1 left. And then when she pounds the rice, there is no sound, and she's able to be peaceful and serve her guests. So what does this mean? That means you cannot have enlightenment if you're on the spiritual path. Even having 20 people, 5 people, 2 people can be a crowd. So when you meditate, pray, sit wherever you are. You don't have to run to a temple or church or monastery at this time of a lockdown. Wherever you are, just everything comes to you where you are. Sit and pray alone, because this could be the greatest path of your own devotion. What the snakes do is they don't go in a crowd, they molt their skin. So similarly, we let go of all the, everything which doesn't belong to us, and we seek the truth like a snake. Spider actually creates a web and then, dissolves itself. So similarly, all creation emanates from God, and eventually everything goes back into the divine itself. So we are, each of us, a spark from the divine light, and similarly we shall go back to that. So that's what we learned from the spider. What does the wasp teach us? The wasp is a great guru, where actually he teaches us, he traps an insect and then keeps stinging him. So when he stings, the poor wasp, the poor insect can only think of the wasp and nothing else, and he becomes a wasp itself. Similarly, as we think, so we become. So let's not think of fear or disease or death or anything. And, in the Krishna's uncle Kamsa only thought of Krishna, he was in so much fear of him. So thinking of Krishna, 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 he became one with Krishna himself. Hearing this, he was so happy to have learned that from Dattatreya, who is such a simple, innocent, happy being, let us really be this innocent, pure, happy beings. Sometimes we don't have to search for a complicated, if we don't run behind a guru, the guru comes to you or the teacher comes to you in all these forms. Because really, truth is omnipresent, the divine is omnipresent, and you are the supreme soul yourself. You're one part of this. So no matter what, today being a full moon, let's take this day to multiply millionfold whatever seeds we sow. So what seeds are we going to infuse into the realm around us? What are we going to? So let it be seeds of love, let it be seeds of devotion, and really let it be seeds of oneness, because only love is real and nothing else. So we are actually, since it's a full moon today, we have some seeds here which we are going to plant, because whatever we plant actually grows on this day. So I'm planting some spinach and rucola here. So all this will be the seeds which I have planted. And similarly, let's send seeds of peace and joy and love to all beings around us, because that is what the world needs right now. Because, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was the incarnation of Krishna and Radha together in one body, because they couldn't bear to be apart. And he would sing and dance with joy like this, which was unbelievable. So all depression, all anxiety, all stress will go if you sing and dance to the divine. There is no greater medicine, there is no greater treatment than this. And as you sing and dance, whatever divine music or dance which you enjoy, you become that. And then you change the vibration of your surroundings, of your city, of your village, of your country, of the world, and of the multiple universes, the multiverses around us. And they will be only frequencies of infinite love which are emitting and emanating from us. So many things, even from the teacher Pingala. Remember I told you the courtesan? So how did she, who had no knowledge or no teacher, how did she attain this sort of freedom? She flew on the two wings of actually, Vichara and Vairagya. Vichara means inquiry and Vairagya is dedication. So let us inquire into what is this truth and how did her soul fly free. Her consciousness was flying higher than it ever did on the wings of these two. So similarly, let's inquire who am I? Where have I come from? Why am I here? Because many great gurus, including Ramana Maharishi, this was his favorite story. And it's such a blessing to be able to share it with you. I'm blessed to have a beautiful guru in a human form, in the form of Maharaji Srivatsa Goswami in Vrindavan and the Radharaman temple. So you don't have to seek. The guru will find you at the right moment. There are so many teachers who preach that truth is one and paths are many. So it doesn't matter what path you're taking, your destination is one eventually. Don't get lost in the language, but let's all find what we really need. Let us all find the teachers, the gurus. My mother found someone else. I found someone else. You will find someone else. It could be, God, for a gardener, just tending to this plant could be his meditation. For a singer, singing that song could be. For a farmer, planting his seeds and plants would be. So today, let us sow the seeds of love and divinity, because we are going to harvest this. These are not tough times. These are actually tender times where the most loving part of yourself comes through all these teachers. So let's say thank you to all our teachers, whether they're professors, whether they're spiritual teachers, from school to childhood, to our parents, to everyone who has taught us anything, and celebrate being one. Thank you so much.